Alrighty, so I wanted to make a video about this new Baldur unit and sort of how to prep gear and stuff like that for him, because he is a very specific unit that is going to need a specific kind of gear set. So I don't typically make gear videos and stuff like that for a lot of characters, or at least like prep stuff. Typically it's reserved for like festival characters and everything, but because he is so different than most characters, I kind of wanted to sort of prep a set for myself and sort of get the ball rolling and, you know, give you guys, you know, the opinion on like what I'm doing, I guess, and sort of give you a little bit of a heads up if you want to build a gear set for him before he drops as well. So the biggest thing to note is that if we look at his skill translations really quickly, I'll try to make this a little bit bigger. I know it's going to be small on the screen, but he is a defense-based character. So all of his skills, you know, you can see right here, skill 1, which is his ultimate move gauge deplete card, scales off of defense, and then his counter also scales off of defense as well. So he's going to be one of those kind of characters, which also ultimate, but he's going to be a character that you're going to run a triple defense set gear set for, which is pretty much a no-brainer. It's not the first time we've had this. I mean, I think the very first triple defense character we had was Blue Tarmiel, but you know, it's not anything super crazy in that sense, but obviously most characters run on like an HE defense set or like an attack crit damage set or something like that nowadays. So just going to be one of those characters that has a little bit more of a different sort of gear set that you're going to have to build for them. So one of the big things about this character is that he is going to be pretty crit based, I think. His counter skill, which it's a little weird. We're getting into the era of Grand Cross where counters and stances and stuff like that can now have extra skill effects on top of whatever they're doing. And because this is a new counter skill, just like with Albedo, which if you don't know, Albedo's stance was Amplify, which means the more, you know, buffs and stuff like that she has on herself whenever she goes to attack with the counter, it's going to do more damage based on that. And this new Baldur character is a little similar, obviously not very like buff based or anything, but his counter is actually a Sever skill, which means that it's going to have triple crit chance. I don't exactly know just yet what his actual crit chance is. I know you can't really use Denzel as an example of that, but the most relevant character that I can really compare him to is probably Percival. I want to. The newest character that's not a festival character is the new Merlin, but she's also based off of an older festival character, so her stats are a little bit skewed as well. Percival, I think, is the last 600 banner that we got that isn't like festival grade, and so his crit chance is actually 100%, 108%. So if we're going off of that, even if it's a little bit better or a little bit worse, I'm assuming it'll be right around the 100% mark. If not, maybe a little bit better. I'm not 100% sure on that, but if you know what his actual crit chance is on JP, let me know. I don't play JP, and I don't really have good access to that. I guess I could ask in like my Discord server or something like that if somebody plays on there, but just for like sake of the video and everything like that, I just don't have access to that information at the moment. But either way, Percival with 108, you know, obviously that means if he gets, you know, whenever you use your stance and he has triple crit chance on top of this, it's going to be like over 300%, which is pretty much going to be guaranteed to crit at that point. Like you'd have to have some pretty crazy gear set on or something like that to have enough, you know, crit resistance to be able to get away with that. Or is it crit defense? I would get confused by that sometimes, but either way, I don't think stats are like going to be that crazy, because even then, like Percival's crit resistance is 91, Percival's crit defense is 116, so nowhere near the 300 mark, and obviously gear will play into that a little bit as well. But because Baldur is going to be the newest character as of the time of his release, he's going to have a pretty good crit chance base, I would think, unless they lower it a little bit because they know he's going to have a triple crit chance on the actual card itself. So maybe that would play into a little bit of a, part of it, but either way, I was watching Nagato's video this morning, and it's pretty interesting stuff. He goes over his gear set that he's already building for the character, and I think that, that's great because he's doing an ungeared showcase, and so going over the gear set is kind of just like a nice little touch. I'm pretty sure he's going to be doing a geared showcase sometime soon anyway, but the one that he has built right here is obviously triple defense, which makes complete sense considering he scales off of defense. All three of his skills use defense as their main, damage damage calculator. And on top, he actually has crit damage rolls, and that's a big deal because obviously you're going to be critting. You might as well just try to get as much damage out of those as possible. And I think that it's a little bit of a weird mechanic because, like, so this gear set that I have right here on Denzel is the old Naofumi set that I used to have, minus the middle pieces. I kept the defense pieces from the middle on him and just changed him into an HP defense character because realistically, the defense team is dead. There's not really much, you can do with Naofumi on the defense team anymore. He's really meant to be more of a tank nowadays anyway, so I've just leaned completely into giving him more CC, giving him more HP. So I just took the engravings off of this one a long time ago, or I guess whenever the collab came back. But on the top pieces, I actually had pierce rate rolls because he wasn't necessarily trying to crit, but, the pierce rate was going to help him do more damage. The attack stat does nothing for him at that point, so there's no reason to go attack on the top. So I know with, I think it's my Gelda. We can also look at Gelda really quickly. She is another decent example of this because she scales off of HP. I actually have my top pieces on pierce rate as well. So because I'm not looking to crit or anything, pierce rate just makes the most sense to get as much damage as you can out of it. So because Baldur is a crit-based unit, he's going to have good crit chance. He's already building crit damage from his passive and everything. You might as well go crit damage. It just makes the most sense. So shout out to Nagato, of course, for, going over that a little bit. I definitely think that that is the way to go. There's not really any other reason that I can think of to do anything other than that, really. So, kind of a no-brainer there. It just makes the most sense. So glad he went over that a little bit so I could start prepping mine as well. He did, in this same video, get a level 3 counter stance. And obviously, it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do very often, or it's just going to be incredibly lucky if you do get it. But the fact that he was able to get it during his very first showcase with the character was really, really cool because I wanted to, see kind of like best case scenario as far as damage goes, which also, something to note is that his stance does not have a taunt on it. That might sound a little bit weird, and most of the time counters and stances and stuff like that typically do have a taunt. But in this regard, in the meta currently at the moment, it's actually not too bad of a thing because he's green, so he has type advantage over Thor, which is good because she's kind of the big hitter in the meta right now. Obviously, Escanor is still a big issue too, so type neutral for that, so that's also kind of good. But Thor does extra damage to taunting units, and because he's not taunting, she's not going to get any extra damage boost on him, which is very, very positive. And she's got type disadvantage, so she's going to do a little bit less damage in general anyway. But another thing to note is that her stance is actually kind of like Fat King or Terry from the KOF collab, where it doesn't matter who you hit, you're going to counter. So you can see like the Thor on her turn is going to actually attack into the Sabnak, and it's still going to proc the counter, which is awesome. So that's really, really positive. At this point, he's pretty late into the game. His passive is, let's see here. His passive is, I think it's the Sword of Light right here, the effect on his passive or whatever. Every time specific allies take damage from the enemy's skill usage, increases the unit's crit damage by 40%, maximum of 240%, which is only 6 cards, 6 attacks, and his crit damage is maxed out from his passive. So as he's a couple of turns in, he has a ton of crit damage built up already, and then boom, crits with 767,000 damage in ungeared PvP, which is pretty insane. Like, obviously, the type advantage helps a little bit there too, but I don't know. There's a lot of potential with this guy, and the gear set and everything like that is going to be pretty crazy. I got a comment the other day whenever we initially went over the character, and he was going over like all of the different ways that you're going to be building up defense and stuff from the passives and the characters that you're running and stuff like that. And there's so much defense and defense related stats that you're going to be able to build up on this character that I think, late game, the crits and stuff like that, or like the counter, damage is just going to be pretty hard to ignore. Like in the beginning, of course, like turn 1, even though he puts the stance effect on himself at the very beginning of the battle, like it's not going to do that much because you haven't built up too much or anything like that. But as the match goes on, he's going to be kind of a menace. So they're probably going to have to start targeting him first. But either way, like I said, triple defense is the gear set that I'm building for him. Obviously, I have to change my top pieces into crit damage rolls, and I'm going to probably use an hourglass on Sunday to grab anvils and stuff for that. And then also this, defense piece in the middle is not, this is a new piece, so I'm going to have to re-roll that one as well. But 14.3, I'll probably try to put some hammers and stuff like that on this gear as they come up. But recently, I've just been throwing all of my hammers onto Thor, and I've finally maxed out her gear set on a 15% on every piece. So that's really, really nice. She deserves it. She's a festival level character, and she's really good in PvE. So I don't feel bad about using those. So either way, that's pretty much it for me. Just wanted to go over the gear set and everything like that, sort of give a little bit of context on the character, and I'm really excited. I really want to try him out in like Demon King and stuff like that. I know that everybody uses, or not everybody, but I know a lot of people, me included, is using Albedo for like turn 1 kills on phase 1 of the Demon King fight, and just different stuff like that. I think that he's not going to be a direct replacement for Albedo, but I think that he's going to be really good in some circumstances, and that is going to be very nice. So obviously this might not be the best time to drop this character because there's just been so many like big banners and stuff to spend gems on and everything, but hopefully those that can get him, or maybe he'll come back in the future and stuff. His banner seems to be sort of seasonal based, so I'm not sure if he's considered a seasonal character or not, but it's very, very possible. I'm not 100% sure on that just yet. So either way, thank you guys so much for watching. If you are building a different gear set for him or anything, by all means, let me know. I'm not like 100% sold on this, but as far as my line of thinking goes right now, there's no other reason to build any other set that I can think of. So, I mean, if you have any extra thoughts or anything on that, by any means, let me know. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully, if you guys are going to be summoning or anything, it goes well. I wish you luck. We'll probably end up doing some live summons and everything whenever the banner drops on Global, if I had to guess. But that is pretty much it for me today. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you tomorrow.